We're going in the trenches today with Cole Cubelic, former Auburn offensive lineman, as well as SEC Network analyst. And Cole breaks down film more than anybody I know in America. I want to talk about the offensive line first. When we take a look at the body of work that the SEC has in terms of offensive line, who is the best offensive line out there?
I think there's probably a 1 and a 1A, and there's a 2 that could be there and has been there at times. I think Alabama probably the most consistent offensive line and the best offensive line throughout the year, but I think Georgia is right there neck and neck with what Alabama has done. And actually, I think Georgia's success has become more because of their offensive line than what Alabama's is doing. When I watch Alabama on film, I see a team that's winning more with scheme as opposed to a team that's just blowing people off the ball and having a ton of success up front, getting a hat on a hat, getting movement. Now, they've been great in pass protection. They've done a lot of different things that an offensive line is asked to do to be successful, but the Georgia offensive line is right there neck and neck with what Alabama's done this year. And then if there's an alternate, if there's one that's close, and only because of probably 2 really poor performances, I would say Auburn's group is right there. But how do we take a group that has started 5 different combinations in 5 weeks and based on the injury to Darius James against Arkansas, even with an off week, maybe going to start 6 combinations in 6 weeks when they play Texas A&M week after next.
Yeah, so how big of an impact is that Darius James injury?
It's big. And I think Auburn's group has been close at times. They haven't been as consistent as Georgia's and Alabama's. But you look at Darius James and sort of you begin to move the chess pieces of how is Herb Hand going to work this out, because I'm not sure your second best right tackle is one, Braden Smith. Well, that takes away the only guy who's really been in his position the entire season. He's moved out to play tight end and bonus packages some, but really he's the guy that has started and been at his spot every game this year. Or you take Austin Golson from center or left guard if he's there and bump him out. So I really think Casey Dunn being healthy at center is the key to the Auburn offensive line for the Texas A&M game. Because if he's back, Braden can stay, Golson can go to right tackle. Now you have Prince Tega at left tackle and Markel Harrell at left guard. If Austin Golson goes to right tackle, I think Braden Smith maybe goes to left guard, and you look at probably Wilson Bell coming in at right guard. I think Wilson Bell is only going to play right guard, and I think after that, Braden Smith will probably be your number 2 left guard if Golson is needing at tackle. I mean, there's a lot of different ways it could go, but it becomes much easier if Casey Dunn is healthy and ready to play at center.
So there's no doubt about it, this bye week comes at a great time for both Alabama and Auburn. So let's break on through to the defensive line, as you like to say, break on through the trenches. When you break down the SEC, the defensive line, let's talk about the front 7. Who impresses you the most? Do we have a 1, a 1A, a 1B?
We're talking front 7.
Front 7.
So defensive line and linebackers, you can't. There's no team you can put in front of Alabama.
Right.
Just because what I have seen from Raekwon Davis this year has almost matched what Deron Payne has done, which we expected that. We knew Deron Payne was going to be the preeminent, dominant, big physical defensive tackle in this league, and he's lived up to every bit of it, but he's been doing it for 2 years. We've seen him do it before. Raekwon Davis has given them almost an equal force opposite him up front on that defensive line. And when Rashaan Evans is healthy, he is athletic and gifted and fast and quick and explosive of a linebacker there is in this league. I think he could be the best pass rusher in America if he was given the opportunity to, say, play the way Tim Williams was able to play last year. Just line up, see ball, go get quarterback. But he has more responsibility in that. He'll back off the ball some. And Sean Dion Hamilton has been a pretty good player up front for that Alabama defense. The Auburn defense is really close. And only because I don't think they have that edge presence like an Evans that they can put up there at rush end and really collapse the pocket in the same manner. But they're deeper on the middle. They're deeper inside. And because of what they have inside, Marlon Davidson has really bumped out to defensive end. Now that gives them a bigger, more physical combination from one end to the other. It's just a little bit of a different type defensive line than what Alabama's been playing with. The Auburn linebackers have been fantastic. Deshaun Davis is as active as anybody in the league. Maybe not as fast, explosive, and gifted as an Evans, but I think he's been wonderful. Darrell Williams has played good football. Atkinson's playing good ball. And Trey Williams, when he's been healthy, is also playing good football. So there's not much of a drop-off from what Alabama does and from what Auburn's been able to do. And then I think really you put Georgia
I was going
right
to say
there.
with Georgia, they're in the mix.
You put them right
obviously.
there with those guys because at times, maybe most of the time this fall, Roquan Smith's been the best linebacker in the league. Now, Devin White at LSU has been great. We mentioned Evans at Alabama. He's been great. There's other really good linebackers, and that has maybe rotated off and on with those guys. But I think also you look at John Atkins on the middle of that Georgia defense and how he's able to occupy two offensive linemen the majority of the time that he's in. He really allows that defense to operate and do what they do, and not just from the front seven, but in coverage as well. And then with Bellamy and company, they got a couple edge guys that can really hurt you as well. So Georgia, Auburn, Alabama, you really can kind of mix and match and pick and choose between those three, and I don't think you go wrong with any one of them.
Unfortunately, we're going to see that matchup coming up here in the month of November, so a lot of exciting football still left to be played. He's Cole Cubelic. Thank you so much for your time in the trenches.